secret is taking little bites, not trying to bite off more than you can chew. Don't you remember your mother telling you not to bite off more than you can chew when you were growing up? Same thing with pulling tires off the bead. Well, that was easy. Almost too easy. Oh, the muffler's full of water. Now I know this only has single exhaust, but I'm still going to take this, cut it, modify it, and bring it up and have a stack on it, because I'm going to be using it for a brush hog, and there's going to be a lot of junk that's going to be running into it, and I don't want it blowing the exhaust down on the ground. So, alright, so I've been stripping some of the stuff off. I got the grill off. You saw me dropping the muffler, and I had taken the cover off, the shroud, so I could get in there because I couldn't see the top of the starter to see what was happening. It looks like the starter is relatively new, all things considered. The solenoid, which I'll show you back in there, is relatively new. The ignition switch is hanging out, and I know the ignition switch does not work to start it. I did get this to turn over, and by squirting stuff down into the carburetor, which is junk, I was able to get it fire. I have ordered a carburetor. I have it here. We will put that on, but yeah, we need to kind of clean things up, put them back together, and then we'll get into testing the whole system. I know that one of the things I found, I couldn't even get it to crank over jumping the solenoid at first because they did not have a good ground to the frame and or to the solenoid. Actually, the ground was hooked somewhere else that didn't ground the motor, didn't ground the solenoid, and so that was why this wouldn't crank over. I'm thinking they had some problems with the starting, and they replaced everything. It looks like, it does not look like they replaced the starter switch. And thankfully the wiring up in here hasn't been messed with, though it has been back there. So we have some electrical issues to deal with. So I have already cleaned out the fuel tank, and I have it hanging off here, and actually I have a new fuel filter waiting to be put on. But before we do any of that, we are going to replace the carburetor. And so I'll bring you back when we get into that. I'll show you a couple other things that are wrong with it. I think I had already mentioned, or maybe not. I don't remember what I did in my last video. But this pulley down in here is frozen. It's jammed up completely. So I cut the belt, the drive belt, hoping to free up the rear wheels. This does not shift out of gear for some reason. But it may not have been that, may not have been the issue. The issue may have been with that pulley being frozen and not allowing the rear pulley on the transaxle to actually turn and allow this to shift into gear. This is a shift on the go. So this particular shift lever here is forward, reverse, and neutral. And the actual shifting of gears is over here. And as you can see, it's 7 speeds. And I have it set in park right now. Whether that actually puts a brake on or not, I can't tell. Another thing we're going to do is we will jack this up and try to get the rear wheels off. And we're going to take this thing here, which was a bagger system, I'm sure. We're going to take that off because that won't be needed. So yeah, we got a lot of work ahead of us. I have a brand new battery. Well, I say brand new. I bought it 2 or 3 months ago, and it hasn't been hooked up yet. And so we got a lot to do. Thankfully, the deck seems to be what I can see. I haven't cleaned it out, as you can tell. The deck does not seem to be seized up, so that's a good thing. So yeah, it looks like it might have some good bones, just needs a lot of love and cleaning, and that's one of the things I'm going to have to do, is do some cleaning on this puppy. So next time, Lord willing, we'll get the carburetor swapped out, and we'll work on our exhaust. I took the front off of here, and I don't think it's going to matter. I think I'm going to just take this, I'm going to slice it here, and I'm going to rotate this elbow, and we're going to have our stack going right straight up, and it'll be lower. It won't be as high as the ones on my plow tractor out there in Minnesota, and but we'll get it on there and keep it up away from all the leaves and stuff that we're going to be going through with this puppy. And once we get the carburetor on there, like Mr. Heavy Chevy does, once I get the carburetor on there, you know, the carburetor, you got to see that carburetor. This one's pretty dirty. But once we get the carburetor on there, and we'll get the cover back on the top, we get the fuel tank mounted back up again, then we will jump into the electrics of this and do some diagnosing and testing and see what we can see. There's the solenoid I had told you about. It looks pretty new, don't it? And I could tell you by plugging this in, which that's supposed to be the wire that actuates it, it doesn't do anything. Oh. All right, no more babbling. Till next time, this is George, the Shade Tree Fix-It Man, and we're back to work in the shop. And I'm really glad to be able to do some projects now. And I have projects waiting in the wings. I've got to finish fixing my string trimmer over there. I'm hoping to convert it over to a brush cutter. And we still got to do the review on our bandsaw. And I put up another milk crate for another set of shelves today. We're working at it. And I have been very slow in digging my trench out here. Yep, I know, I told you I was gonna say goodbye. I've been very slow in digging my trench, but I've made another 4 feet. And I only get maybe 1.5 feet done, because I'm trying to get it 18 to 24 inches deep, and it's hard going across the driveway area. There are lots of rock. And I'm an old man. If one of you young guys wants to come over and volunteer to dig that trench for me, I'll be more than willing to sit and watch you and drink a soda or something. Yep. Well, I guess it's not quite 70. It's 60, but it sure feels like 70 to me. Feels good, whatever it is. Bye for now.